Hello, welcome to episode number 492 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. It's going to be SmackDown for week 1 of March 2024. It is the 8th of March special episode of SmackDown. I don't know why I'm paused there. But, yes, tonight it is the Gauntlet. Candice LeRae, Asuka, Dakota Kai, Bianca Belair, and Utami Hayashishita, 5 women, all with the same goal. Going to WrestleMania to wrestle Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. We also found out last week that Ilya Dragunov would be the man going to WrestleMania to face Swerve Scott for the World Heavyweight Championship. Plus, we have the next 2 rounds of the United States Championship Tournament with Drew Gulak against David Matar and Nebo Barnes against a 8th participant who Nick Aldis has kept close to his chest. Without any further ado, though, let's jump straight into tonight's show. Seth Rollins opens up the show. Last week he was the man who lost to Ilya Dragunov in the main event, and then CM Punk came out after the match, hit him with a GTS, and basically said, "I want you at WrestleMania." So, Seth comes out, and he goes, "Last week was my last opportunity to get to the main event of WrestleMania. Last week was my last chance to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. It was me. It was Ilya Dragunov, and Ilya Dragunov, we all know, is one of the toughest son of a bitches anyone can ever step into the ring with. You know, despite his side, he packs a hell of a punch, and he's got an undying spirit. We learned that in the Royal Rumble match. And just as I have every other big opportunity I've had over the last few months, I lost. But after my defeat, when I was at my weakest point, who shows up? Who jumps the barricade to make his unwanted presence felt once again? CM Punk. Now, Phil, I'm sorry about the Royal Rumble. I'm sorry about me taking that opportunity away from you. Your big return up in smoke because of me. I'm sorry about that, Phil, but I was just doing what everybody here wants you to do, because you see, none of you people here today are in that locker room when CM Punk is in that locker room. None of you knew CM Punk 10 years ago when he took his ball, he went home, and he tucked his tail between his legs and said, "I'm not cut out for this shit anymore." And now, he's back. What? Because he had his grandiose return, the glitz and the glamour, and he ruined it all for himself, because CM Punk's biggest enemy is CM Punk. So he's back here in WWE, and he's putting on this facade, this happy to be here face, but he's never happy to be here, Phil. I know deep down you're still the same bitter old man, the same cancer that you've always been ever since I knew you. And these fans, they may see through it, because they love CM Punk. But I don't. We never needed you here. We never wanted you here. You came crawling back to us. We never came crawling back to you. And now here you are. You want to dance at WrestleMania. You want Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestleMania. Huh? My answer is no. No, Phil, you don't get to just walk back through the door and get a chance to wrestle the new Mr. WrestleMania at WrestleMania. You don't deserve that spotlight. I'd rather miss WrestleMania than give you the satisfaction of getting in the ring with me at WrestleMania. So I hear that you're gonna be here next week. And if you want to get on WrestleMania, hell, I hear there's a spot open up in this United States Championship Tournament. Maybe go find a tag team partner. Go challenge Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But as far as me and you go, I'm never, ever gonna lower myself to your level. They get a recap of the Rock segment from last week about LA Knight, because he's The Rock, you know, he's not here every week. So he's not here this week, but he will be back next week. You know, we're only like 20 minutes into the show, and we already know next week we're getting CM Punk and The Rock. So, you know, if you thought this week's show with the Gauntlet was big, next week's is going to be even bigger. $89 rating, holy shit. Drew Gulak and David Martin in the US title tournament. Last week, Angelo Dawkins and Jacob Fatu qualified to the next round, beating Tony D'Angelo and The Miz, respectively. And now we've got Drew Gulak and David Martin. This is sort of the worker half of the tournament, while the other one was like the entertainment half of the tournament, I guess. But yes, David Martin beat Drew Gulak in 13 minutes and 20 by pinfall. 87 for Gulak, 85 for David Martin. And yeah, 89 for the match. That's a fucking wild. It's Drew Gulak versus Michael Oku on SmackDown. That's an 89. But yes, big win for David. He advances to the next round where he'll face either Nebo Barnes or this mystery 8th competitor next week. We then cut to Kayla, my guest at this time, the World Heavyweight Champion, Swerve Scott. He says, so Swerve, last week it was official. You will defend the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania against Ilya Dragunov. And he goes, Ilya, he's a weird one, Kayla. You know, he's a terrifying guy to be in there with. I know I've stood across the ring from him countless times. Me and him, we've sort of been the MVPs of SmackDown over the last few months, so it's sort of destiny that him and I are about to lock horns at WrestleMania. But here's the thing, Kayla. Last time me and Ilya Dragunov were in the ring, it didn't end well for him. I won. And now Ilya, he went through war with Seth Rollins last week. Hell of a match, you know. I was there, ringside. Hell of a fight, you know, all for the opportunity to lose to me at WrestleMania. I mean, I respect it. But Ilya Dragunov, he says he's motivated this year round. He says that he's going to be the one to tear my house down. Kayla, I'd love to see him try. You're looking at the man who retired John Cena. Okay? I don't get beat when the lights are on bright. And if Ilya thinks that, you know, WrestleMania is going to be my undoing, or he might want to have a hard look at himself in the mirror, because this unbreakable fighting spirit that he so prides himself on, everyone thinks they're unbreakable until they get broken. And Ilya, I love to break things in my house. So I dare you to step to the king. Let's see where that gets you. We then cut to the Dragon Dojo. Brian and Pete Dunne. And Brian goes, so Drew, our esteemed trainee Drew Gulak, he came up short in his quest to become the United States champion, and that's fine. It's growing pains. We adapt and we overcome here in this dojo. And Drew Gulak, I have another mission to send you on, so don't beat yourself up too bad about losing in this tournament, because we will still come out on top. Now, as for me and the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne, our mission statement is rather simple. At WrestleMania 40, 10 years after I became famous, 10 years after the crowd saw the Miracle on Bourbon Street, I'm walking back down that aisle at WrestleMania. I'm bringing a Bruiserweight, the dangerous Pete Dunne. You know, who can snap your limbs at the flick of a finger. And this is our official challenge to Kevin Owens and to Sami Zayn. Don't think I forgot who you won those championships from in the first place. Okay, and Cesaro, he may now be on ECW. Miles, he may not be ready for that spot, but the Bruiserweight is. So me and the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne, we're coming to take our titles back. And we want them at WrestleMania. But then quickly see Johnny Gargano walking through the hallway on SmackDown. And Oro Mensah and Shakara Jackson walk up and goes, hey, you know, what do you think you're doing here last week? You're not invited to SmackDown. He goes, oh, I guess you missed the memo last week. You see, Trick Williams, he got traded over to Raw. I got traded over to SmackDown. He said, so good, okay, because Trick, he wants to be on Raw so we can kick Carmelo Hayes' ass. And as for me, I want to be over here on SmackDown so I can kick Montez Ford's ass and your ass. And he goes, actually, you know, I'm not busy tonight. You know, Candice is in the Gauntlet main event. I want to make sure I can be back to watch that. But so I've got time though. Got about 5 minutes of time. Do you reckon me and you can go up there and do our thing in 5 minutes? Do you reckon I could beat you in 5 minutes? Hell, of course I can. Come on. Match has now started. He like grabs Araminsa, drags him towards the entrance ramp. Gargano's theme hits, and he like drags Araminsa to the ring because he's on a time crunch. You see, because he wants to be back in time to watch the Gauntlet. So he's promised a sub 5 minute match with Araminsa. And that's what we get. Well, technically, according to the game, we don't, but we do. It goes like 4 minutes 30 odd. And Gargano beats him with the Hertz Donut. 77 for Gargano, 70 for Oro Mensah. And yeah, just a fun spot because, you know, Oro Mensah and Jakara Jackson have been booked like geeks. Like, that's their role. Specifically Oro. So, you know, Gargano, and he also does a bit of silly stuff. And I needed filler for him this week because Candice is in the Gauntlet. So, yeah. Him and Oro Mensah have a fun 5 minute match. After the match, though, Gargano is celebrating when Montez Ford jumps in from behind the chair. Montez Ford continues to unload on Johnny Gargano with the steel chair. And, you know, all of a sudden this starts being fun. Because Tez, you know, he's snapped. He's beating the hell out of Johnny Gargano with the chair. He picks him up. Smacks the chair over his back again. Hits that frog splash. Leaves Gargano laying. And he sort of just looks back and walks off. And he orders Oro to the back, like, get your ass to the back. But yeah, Gargano has taken and, you know, he's got something of a receipt from Montez Ford here tonight. Then cut back to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, and they're just sitting in the GM's office. Pearce goes, "Hey, rough first night for Johnny on the job, huh?" Aldis goes, "Hey, you know, it's on SmackDown. The competition's tough. You know, it's gonna be like that sometimes." And then his phone goes off. And he goes, "Oh, sorry, that's a text from, you know, the front security here at the arena." He goes, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Is that your guy? Is he here?" Aldis goes, "He's here." And then he walks off. He's like, "Well, I can't wait to see him." Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn backstage promo. "So let me get this straight. Daniel Bryan, okay? You think because, 10 years ago, this crowd was on your side and they loved you? Okay, I was one of them, you know? I signed to WWE just a few months after that. Guys like you being in the main event of WrestleMania helped open the door for a guy like me, for a guy like Sammy, to make it here in WWE and become world champions here in WWE. So, in that regard, we have a lot of respect for you, professional respect, and we'd love to step into the ring with you at WrestleMania, but now, I don't see that Daniel Bryan. I don't see the hero that we all cheered on 10 years ago. I see an egotistical asshole who knows he's good because you are. You're one of the best to ever do it. And it'll get to his head. You see, Bryan, you can bring whatever tag team partner you want. You can bring Miles Bourne. You can bring Cesaro. You can bring Pete Dunne. It doesn't matter. We've beaten you for these championships before. We defended them against you. So if you want one more shot at these, you and your new friend Pete Dunne versus myself versus Sami Zayn for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania, bring it." So yeah, I guess there it is, made official that at WrestleMania it will be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against Daniel Bryan and the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. That sounds like a sleeper match of the night right there. 54 rated match. The match doesn't really matter. It's about the story here with these people. But Thea Hale defeats Elektra Lopez in 6 minutes. You know, Chase U and the D'Angelo family have been going at it for a while now. 60 for Elektra, 50 for Thea. There was no psychology, apparently. That's fine, even though I did script the match, but the game told me to fuck off, basically. But yeah, Thea Hale. big win for Colton here. This is his birthday episode. He commented that like on the community post for the Gauntlet. He's like, this is my canonical birthday episode, so here my canonical birthday gift to Colton is a Thea Hale victory here on SmackDown. And then cut back, Johnny, he's being, checked on by doctors. Candice comes in. She goes, Johnny, are you okay? And he goes, yes. He goes, I'm fine, go get ready for the main event, you can't worry about me. Don't worry about me. And Candice goes, that Montez Ford and Bianca, they've made my life's hell over the last 6 months, and I appreciate you coming over here to, trying to help me about it, but it's just, they're almost not worth it. It's almost, this Gauntlet, it's almost not important. It's almost as if it's more important to me to get revenge on Bianca and Montez Ford than it is to even challenge E over the championship. And Johnny goes, no, see, you can't talk like that. Like, being the champion. Okay, last year you won the Women's World Championship. They may have been at WrestleMania. You can get back there tonight. Okay, don't worry about me. You do your thing. Candice goes, I know what I'm doing tonight. And I'm gonna do what's right. I'm gonna do my thing. And she walks off. Johnny goes, well, what the hell did she mean by that? We then see a very ecstatic Thea Hale. She's walking back into the Chase U classroom. And she's all ecstatic. She goes, oh my god, I did it, Mr. Chase. I beat Elektra Lopez. We got one over on those dumb Italians. We got one over on them. And then Adriana Rizzo was just stood there, just like clearing a hole through her. She goes, oh, sorry, by dumb Italians, I wasn't talking about. What are you doing here? She goes, hey, I'm here on a message from the Don. Okay, this land, Chase U land this is built on right now, this is now D'Angelo family land. And the Don, he's gonna renovate this land. And he goes, it's like, oh, so, I guess we're all good now, and he's gonna give Chase U a makeover. And I'm trying to slow down and goes, you're not the brightest. She's not your star student here, is she, Mr. Chase? And he goes, unfortunately not, no. She goes, wait, what do you mean by that? Keith goes, Mr. D'Angelo and company have acquired the land of which Chase University is built, and they're going to renovate the land area upon which Chase University is built to create their own, I guess, mafia-related area. And Thea goes, well, I'm confused. What? So are we moving? And Andrea's like, not just moving. Your school's dead. This is our property now. Get lost. And she walks out. And then Thea's like, wait, we lost? We're losing the university? Andre Chase goes, I never should have made that deal. This is all my fault. And Shane Reynolds puts his hand on Andre Chase's shoulder and goes, yeah, it sort of is, Mr. Chase. I'm like, what do you, Shane? He's like, what? I'm sorry, it's just, there's no need to sugarcoat anything, it is. And then Keith Lee steps forward, he goes, being all doom and gloom, being downtrodden, being so melancholic, is going to get us nowhere. Rumors of the demise of Andre Chase University shall be greatly exaggerated. And Chase goes, what are you saying, Keith? He goes, I'm saying, if it's a fight that Mr. D'Angelo is looking for, well then, the heart and fire, the black and red blood of Andre Chase University will not go quietly into the night. We shall not be moved, and we must end Mr. D'Angelo's reign of tyranny before we're the first of many, many victims. Mr. Chase, for months now I've been a superintendent, a security guard, on my quest for work after I was terminated from WWE. May I officially join Andre Chase University and lead us into war against the D'Angelo family. And Andre Chase, he still looks sort of defeated. And he goes, Keith, I appreciate the offer, but... And he goes, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, Mr. Chase, because you seem to think that we've already lost. But to me, there's an opening for victory. And we shall emerge victorious. This is not the end of Andre Chase University. This is what makes us put our petty squabbles we've been having over the past few months to rest. Forget Dexter Loomis. Forget everything else. The seven of us, together, must save this school. Now who's with me? Puts his hand out. Thea Hale puts her hand on top of Keith Lee's, then Morgan Hams, Haley. Shane Reynolds sort of shrugs his shoulders, puts his hand on there too. And they will sort of look at Andre Chase and they go, come on, Mr. Chase. And he goes, fuck it. Why not? We've got nothing else to lose. Puts his hand on the top. And then they go, 3, 2, 1. All throw their hands at the end, go, Chase you. We then go from that to, we see Nebo come into the ring for his US title match. And then Nick Aldis walks on stage. He goes, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a contract in his hand. He goes, when this bracket to determine the new number one contender for the United States Championship was announced, there was one man that I knew had become available, that I knew needed to be in this tournament. Because I am the greatest GM here on SmackDown. I've secured the greatest free agent signing in SmackDown in God knows how long. And he will be in this tournament, and he will be your next United States Champion. So please welcome the final member of this tournament. Out comes Neville. This is a big deal in this world because Pac, as he was known, is a 2-time TNT and 1-time AEW World Champion. So, you know, it's not just like, oh, we've taken another cool mid-carder back. This is like one of AEW's top guys. And he's ours. Yeah. And he's the final member of this tournament. His bastard gimmick gets a great, and now Nebo Barnes has to face off against the bastard. And in an 87 rated opening match, that's not his name. Neville defeats Nebo Barnes in 12:06 with a shooting star leg drop to advance to the next round. Neville gets an 87 and Nebo gets an 81. So yeah, next week it will be David Martin in the semi-finals of the United States Championship Tournament, taking on Neville. After the match, he gets the mic, and he goes, listen up, scumbags. Remember me? The king of the cruiserweights. Now, your next king of the United States. The bastard Neville is back, and nobody is safe. Slams the mic down. Why are you, Geordie boy? He's already delivering big numbers. I'm so excited about this signing. Like, there are other people that came up, like for example, the Bucks and somebody else that was important in AEW that I passed on because I was like, I don't really have a spot for them. Doesn't really make sense. But when Pac came up, I knew I was getting him, and yeah, he's already pulling out big numbers. Then see a sit-down interview. Pat McAfee's with Ilya Dragunov. He goes, Ilya, thank you for your time. During my time here in WWE, been known for my rather, outlandish commentary, my emotions, and being rather boisterous and loud and excited. I get my very emotional. And that's why I like to sit down with you, man to man, leaving all that to the back, and you get to leave all that intensity that you're known for in the back. I really want to strip down and get to know the man of Ilya Dragunov. Get to know the man behind the Mad Dragon. And obviously Ilya's there in a suit. Just speaking like a normal person, he goes, I appreciate your time, Mr. McAfee. So, when I came to the WWE, I had to put in my time down on NXT UK, knowing there was not many people in this country watching my work. But the body of work I put in, wrestling in NXT UK, I knew that this was only the beginning for me. And then I came up and I joined the Regal Coalition. I was in the shadow of guys like Gunther, guys like Dudley Davis, guys like Pete Dunne. As a matter of fact, last year, I was overlooked. It was going to be Pete Dunne and Dudley and Gunther at WrestleMania, but it wasn't Pat McAfee. It was a fatal four-way that night. Because I put in the work to make it so. And I thought, when I came up short in that World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania last year, I thought I'd never get another opportunity to be World Heavyweight Champion, especially not at WrestleMania. But last week, when I smashed Seth Rollins' head into the mat, and I heard that 3 count, I knew I was staring through the barrel of destiny one more time, and this time, it's also a familiar opposition. Last year, it was one of my greatest rivals in history in Gunther, and this year, it's a man I've locked horns with a couple of times in Swerve. Now, Swerve, a lot of people are saying is only World Heavyweight Champion because of The Rock, and I disagree. Swerve got in that World Heavyweight Championship match because he was one of the top guys here on SmackDown, busting his ass over the last year. Sure, The Rock happens to help him win the match, but he doesn't get into that match without being World Heavyweight Champion caliber. So that's why this match is so important, Pat McAfee. It's not just another shot at me becoming World Heavyweight Champion. It's the two guys who have held this brand on the men's side over the last year, fighting to get to the top in a year where pretenders like Montez Ford were running around as the champion, where Carmelo Hayes cashed in Money in the Bank to become champion, where LA Knight became champion, and kudos to him. But I believe, in my heart of hearts, Pat McAfee, that there's nobody on this roster right now doing it quite like myself and quite like Swerve Scott. So that's why this match at WrestleMania is must-see. Because neither of us are going to hold anything back. And I like it that way. Because if we held anything back, especially on a show like WrestleMania, you wouldn't deserve to be World Heavyweight Champion. So what's going to happen at WrestleMania, Pat McAfee, is we're going to go to war. Two men with the same chip on their shoulder to prove they are the very best here on SmackDown. And that championship proves that you are the very best. But only one man can hold that championship, Pat. And it's going to be me. And Pat's go, well, even as a normal guy here, you're sitting in a suit, you're still intimidating the hell out of me, so thank you so much for Ilya Dragunov and good luck at WrestleMania. He goes, thank you, Pat. And I wish the same for you. Have a good evening. So yeah, just a match that really sells itself. This match is basically just being sold off of these fucking guys were the fucking MVPs of SmackDown for the last year, and they're going at it at WrestleMania. Is going to be a fucking banger. Next week is a big show in a lot of ways. First of all, we've got the two semi-finals of the United States Championship Tournament, the first being Angelo Dawkins taking on the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu on the, I guess, Pierce side of the bracket. And then the other semi-final on the Nick Aldis side of the bracket, David Martin takes on the Bastard Neville in singles action for the first time ever. Plus, The Rock is going to be back on the show, as is CM Punk. Now moving on to WrestleMania, here's our confirmation of a couple of big matches for the show. The first being the World Heavyweight Championship match as Swerve Scott and Ilya Dragunov go to war. Two of the very best on this roster, fighting for the biggest prize in SmackDown. Who will leave as the World Heavyweight Champion? Plus, for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, it is official. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will defend those championships once again against Daniel Bryan, but this time his new tag team partner, the vicious new bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. They get a quick backstage segment. Cammy and Io, in the Queendom Lounge. Obviously Dakota and Utami aren't there because they're both in the gauntlet, taking a seat. Actually, no, it's not in the Queendom Lounge. They're stood backstage, watching one of the TVs. They're not allowed in the Queendom Lounge for a reason that will become clear later. But yeah, they're just chilling in the backstage area, watching it on a TV. And we had a pretty big show already tonight, but now the gauntlet to determine who goes to WrestleMania to wrestle Io Sky for the Women's World Championship begins. The first two entrants are Asuka and Dakota Kai. Last week there was sort of an ultimatum put on Dakota's head. Prove your loyalty to this group and win this gauntlet. And apparently to do that, you've got to go through everybody, which is almost improbable odds. Especially when her first opponent is Asuka, who, let's not forget, at WrestleMania last year, beat Dakota Kai in about 20 seconds. But this time, Asuka goes for the miss right off the bat, and Dakota ducks it. She's expecting that. She scouted Asuka. And yeah, they then have a match. They go for a while. Dakota is sort of wrestling like, well, it's not like she knows, because she does know. To win this, she's got to go long. So she's got to try and preserve some energy. And Asuka's trying to kick her head off. She's ducking all the kicks. Dakota's kicking her back. And her and Asuka are brawling. And in the end, Dakota pins Asuka with the scorpion kick. In 16:43, a lengthy first part of the gauntlet. But I did give this time. I made sure I want this to go an hour. So, these matches are all going to get time because this is a big fucking deal. These are like the 5 top women that aren't Io on this brand. 88 the first portion of the gauntlet gets. 88 for Dakota and 85 for Asuka. And yeah. We then move on to the next entrant in the gauntlet. Bianca Belair's music hits and she comes out. This part gets a 90. Okay. But yeah, Dakota has just been through a war with Asuka. Bianca Belair, being the heel as she is, she storms for the ring. She's ready to pick the bones, basically. She starts hammering away with shots on Dakota. She goes for a KOD early. Dakota lands on her feet, kicks Bianca in the face, and she stumbles back. And then, another match gets going. And, Dakota, tired. She tried to preserve her energy against Asuka, but it's Asuka. You can't half-ass against her to win. So she is very clearly tired here. And she's against the franchise player. So, it's never going to be easy. Bianca gets up for a KOD again. Dakota slides down the back, goes for a roll-up. 1, 2, Bianca kicks out. Bianca goes to whip her with a braid. Dakota, dodges it. Hits the big boot. Bianca staggers into the corner. She hits another big boot. She staggers back into the corner again. And she hits the scorpion kick again on Bianca Belair. And pins the franchise player. Bianca Belair is eliminated. Dakota Kai have another elimination here tonight. In a 90 rated match. Goes 15 minutes. She's now been wrestling for 31 straight minutes. And out comes the next person in the gauntlet. It's Candice LeRae. And she gets into the ring. And Dakota's looking, exhausted and pissed off. Because let's not forget something very important here. This is the first time Candice and Dakota have shared a ring since Survivor Series. Well, not actually, because they're both in Hell in a Cell. But the first time they've been one-on-one since Survivor Series. Since Dakota kicked Candice LeRae in the face and joined Queendom. But Candice takes the mic. She looks down at Dakota Kai. She sort of smiles. And she goes, Dakota, when you took my head off inside the War Games, I wanted nothing more than to rip your head off. Because I couldn't believe myself for trusting you. I thought that you changed. But now I stand here, seeing you in this gauntlet match. I realize that you never changed. You've always been who you said you were. And that's why tonight, good luck in the rest of this gauntlet. As for me, I forfeit. And she drops the mic, and the crowd's like, what the fuck? Like, why does Candice not want to beat the fuck out of Dakota? Bianca's still, she's leaving after she's just been pinched. Like, what the hell, girl? Beat her ass. Like, what are you doing? And Candice, like, slaps the fuck out of Bianca Belair, and they brawl on the ramp. Security pulls them apart. And then Utami comes out. The final two in the gauntlet. Dakota Kai and Utami Hayashishita. Queendom versus Queendom. Who's going to WrestleMania? 87 rating. Because Utami's working injured. But you can almost see, like, something change in Dakota as soon as Utami gets in the ring. And Utami looks even more focused, and she's looking extra vicious. Like, she's got additional motives to wanting Dakota to lose. But it's Queendom versus Queendom, so, you know, surely Io's getting her wish at WrestleMania either way, no matter who wins this match. But, you know, with the way this has been structured, despite this being two members of the heel stable, being basically, you know, the heir and the second in command of the heel stable, they've terrorized this show for, like, 6 months. The way this gauntlet's specifically been structured, obviously Dakota Kai would be the babyface here, because she's wrestled for half an hour, she's beaten 2 heels, and Utami's coming in and just beating the fuck out of her like she owes her money. Like, pretend what the hell her issue is, I don't know. But, like, but yes, this portion goes 17-23. And in the end, the winner of the gauntlet, and the woman who will face Io Sky for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania, is Dakota Kai. She hits the Scorpion Kick in 17-23, pins Utami, and runs the gauntlet. She goes bell to bell. And obviously, the way this has been structured, despite the fact that she is a heel, obviously gets a big babyface reaction. Because Candice forfeited, so she only wrestled heels in the gauntlet. But that begs the question, why did Candice forfeit? I'm sure at least one of you can take a good guess. But Dakota Kai gets an 85, Utami gets a 76, and we then cut back to Io and Cammy watching. And they're over the fucking moon. Cammy's like, I knew it, you know? Like I said, you know, I had my reasons to doubt Dakota, you know, after what Tegan and Piper did to this group, but I always knew deep down that her heart was in the right place. And my queen, my Joshi Judas, my Women's World Champion. Next week, in the main event of SmackDown, you and your second in command, Dakota Kai, will make it official. You'll sign the Constitution for WrestleMania. And the whole SmackDown Women's Division will be there. In a big meeting. And the biggest match in the history of the SmackDown Women's Division is signed. And you, my queen, will reign as Women's World Champion forever. And then Io does walk off. When Piper, Tegan, and Candice sort of walk up to Cammy. They sort of just like side-eye her and give her a look and a smile. She's like, can I help you girls? It's over. You lost. You're on the wrong side of history. Queendom versus Queendom, WrestleMania. My Joshi Judas wins. And you can only blame yourself, Candice, because you're the one who threw it all away. And she's like, yeah. Big meeting next week, huh? Big contract signing. That's great. Sure hope nothing goes wrong. And Cammy goes, what do you mean by that? And Tegan and Piper go, well, March 15th. Beware the Ides of March, Cammy. And they also just walk off. And she's like, whatever, weirdos. Like, trying to kill my hype. Whatever, Queendom versus Queendom, WrestleMania. 90 rated show. That girl just blew up here. This gauntlet was so good. Like, yeah. And before you ask, yes, it was planned before they did the IC title gauntlet in real life. Like, there was always going to be a gauntlet because I had to do the Candice LeRae angle. Anyway, what matters more is what you thought of the show. So let me know what you thought in the comments below. Big show tonight. Pac's back. Sorry, not Pac. Neville. That's going to take some getting used to. Neville's back. And it appears we're getting Queendom versus Queendom at WrestleMania. But we now have Velocity to get into. Velocity kicks off with an 89 rated match. Ricochet's role right now, while Logan Paul and R-Truth are fucking about with the Raw Tag Division, is just to have the weekly fucking blue rated banger on Velocity. He does that with RKJ here tonight, gets an 89 rated, he does win with a 630, and yeah, he gets a 92, RKJ with a 68, and yeah, big win for him. We then continue on, two ECW guys, Roderick Strong and Ken Cobain go at it, and he wins with the fold in 13 minutes and 8 seconds, gets a 76 rated match. 67 for Ken Cobain and a 63 for Roderick Strong. And now, our main event tonight is also a 76 rated match. Drew Gulak, he's already wrestled tonight. He had an 89 with David Martin on SmackDown. He lost that, but he wins this with Oney Lorcan and Dante Rios, who are both sporting Dragon's Dojo jackets. After, the whole thing last week. And they pick up a trios win here tonight against Ty, Toby, and Angelico. He submits Toby Marley with a Gulak. 64 for Oney Lorcan, 78 for Drew Gulak, 60 for Dante Rios, 70 for Angelico, 55 for Toby Marley, and a 61 for Ty Marley. And then to close the night, Sho Funaki gets into the ring, the best interviewer in Velocity. And Drew Gulak says, I may have come up short in the United States Championship Tournament, but there's more gold to be draped on the Dragon Dojo. Our Cruiserweight Trios champions, LA Extreme, they've sure been in hiding recently, haven't they, Funaki? That's because they know there's a new dominant trio here on Velocity, and it's not them, it's us. So yeah, rather clear mission statement from Drew Gulak, Oney Lorcan, and Dante Rios to end the show. Which gets us 79. Again, it's Velocity, not too bothered about what it gets. What really matters what you thought of SmackDown. So if you let me know, sit in the comment below, and I'll see you next time for Raw. See you then.